All right, guys, we're going to get rolling. So tonight is a little bit different format than usual. It's kind of an ask me anything, the psilocybin questions you're too embarrassed to ask. So it's going to be a little presentation of questions that I get asked all the time that I thought we would go through and we'll talk about it. So how many of you guys have ever Googled something about psychedelics in the middle of the night and then immediately closed your browser history? Who's done that? I know I have before. We've all been there. And so tonight, what we're doing is we're talking about the questions you've been too scared, too embarrassed to ask out loud, the weird ones, the awkward ones, the am I going to shit myself ones. Because here's the thing, if you're wondering, so is everybody else. So let's just talk about it. There's no judgment, no shame, just real talk. So how we're doing this tonight is if you have any questions that I'm not covering, or if you have questions about my questions, you can go ahead and post a comment here on the side, and then I will go ahead and answer you. Or you can unmute yourself and you can just ask it out loud, whatever you're more comfortable with. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this. There's no judgment. There's no BS. I'm just here to answer your questions about what this looks like. When you're using psilocybin for either a macrodose or a microdose, these are things that I get asked all the time. I've compiled them into this little slide set. So one of the most common things that people ask is, will I completely lose control or do something crazy? No, you will not. You lose control of ego. You lose control of your defensive. You lose control of the narrative or the voice that's in your head. But you don't run around naked, jump off things, go crazy, say stuff. That's nuts. You just don't do that. You're in a safe, controlled setting. I'm there the entire time. When I sit with people, you'll be lying down. You're probably crying. You might be laughing or just experiencing your inner thoughts or ideas. And the loss of control is actually a loss of your need to control everything. And that is actually the whole point of doing this. In the comments, guys, since you guys are off doing stuff, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does fear of losing control hold you back from trying something like this? Is it a 1, not at all, or a 10, extremely? Anybody? Anybody? You guys scared? No? Okay. Okay. So the next one is, what if I have a bad trip? Guess what? There is no such thing as a bad trip. Sometimes you have difficult experiences, and this is what I tell everyone. The medicine shows you what you need to see, not always what you want to see. And that means sometimes you're facing your shit. And sometimes it means you feel grief you've been avoiding for years. Sometimes it means you're seeing how you've been hurting yourself or hurting others. Sometimes it means you have to reframe the narrative that's in your head. Is it comfortable? Fuck no. At all. Not at all. Is it bad? No. It's here to be healing. And I'll be there to help you navigate it if you're sitting with me. How many of you guys have had a challenging experience in therapy or personal growth work that ended up being like a huge breakthrough? I know that I personally have. It seemed like the worst thing at the time, but then once I got through it, I was like, man, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's actually worse thinking about it than actually like having to go through it, right? So, me personally, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, which was, kind of made me feel silly afterwards. The next one, what about bodily functions? Because everybody wants to know. Everybody's heard of ayahuasca, where you vomit, you poop, and all kinds of things happen. So you're human. You have a body. Bodies do body things. I've seen it all, and I promise you, I personally don't care. I've been thrown up on by people. If you need to throw up, you throw up. If you need to pee, you pee. I help you to the bathroom. If you're worried about anything else, we plan for it. This is about healing. It's not about performing. And your body's going to do whatever it needs to do, and that's okay. There's a bathroom nearby. There's trash cans. There's buckets, so you can, puke if that's what you need to do. But there's nothing to be embarrassed about. We're just people having a human experience, and sometimes that means that you end up yakking your guts out at times. So nothing to be embarrassed about. Who here has ever wondered about that? That if you're going to have some violent bodily function, lots and lots of people worry about that. So hopefully that alleviates that worry. Will I see scary things, demons, monsters, terrifying hallucinations? Here's the thing. It doesn't really create random scary shit to torture you. It shows you what's already inside of you, your fears, your shadow, your unprocessed stuff. And if something feels scary, it's because it represents something you've been avoiding. And that's actually good, because now you can face it and you can release it. Sometimes people have on an eye mask, they're lying down, they're in the dark because light really bothers your eyes. And, I or some other trained sitter will be right there for you. It isn't a haunted house, it's a healing journey. And so you kind of see, what you need to see, but in perspective, it's not scary. There's no dragons in the refrigerator. So really, what's scarier to you guys, facing your fears in a safe container with support, or really carrying this stuff around for the rest of your life? That's just something for you guys to think about as you're going through this journey. What if I say something embarrassing or reveal too much? Well, that's what you're here for, guys. I've sat with people who've cried about their childhood. They've screamed at their parents who aren't here anymore. They've confessed their deepest shame. They've told me about traumatic things that have happened to them that they've never told anybody in the whole wide world. They've told themselves they're worthy of love for the first time. They've told me that they love me for the first time. All kinds of things happen, and it's all very sacred, and it's all very healing, and it's all very confidential. I don't tell anybody your stuff. So you're not going to embarrass yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to be real. And that's the whole fucking point of what we're doing here, is for you to have that opportunity to, whatever you need to say, whatever your truth is, you get to talk about it. You get to say it out loud. You get to be mad. You get to be sad. You get to be happy. You get to laugh. Any emotion that comes out is perfectly normal. Anything that you talk about is clearly something you need to talk about, and your body and mind is trying to get that emotional thing out for you, which is really awesome. How many of you guys have said something vulnerable in therapy and then felt relief afterwards? I have. It's like that, but it's like deeper. Another common question is, will I get addictive? Will I get addicted? Right? After a deep psilocybin journey, the last thing you want to do is immediately do it again. Just being real. You need time to integrate. You need time to process. You need time to implement what you learned. This isn't like alcohol or drugs where you're chasing a high. This is medicine, and you don't take medicine when you don't need it. So the science behind it is there's no physical dependence. There's no withdrawal. The tolerance builds over time rapidly, and psychologically, it's non-addictive. So this is a non-concern for psilocybin. Psilocybin is classified as having a low abuse potential by researchers, and it's less addictive than caffeine. So have you guys drank caffeine? Because I definitely have. So it's less addictive than caffeine. What if I'm too damaged, broken, fucked up for this work? Everybody has that fear. What if this won't help me fix myself? What if I'm too messed up? I need you to hear this. You're not too broken. You're not beyond help, and you're not the exception. The fact that you're even here asking these questions means you're ready. And the fact that you're scared means you're human. The fact that you're wondering if it will work for you means that you're already doing the work. And I've sat with people who thought they were too far gone, they were too messed up, it was too much trauma, who thought their trauma was too deep, who thought they'd never heal, who thought that there was no possible way to deal with what was inside of them. And I've watched them crack open, and I've watched them release decades of pain. I've watched them remember who they are underneath all that hurt. You're not too broken, and you're exactly where you need to be. And it's all healing is possible if you lean into the work. So if you take a breath and you put your hand on your heart, and just for a second, consider the possibility that you're not broken, that you're just ready to be whole again, and you're just remembering who you are at your core. Does that resonate with anybody? Good. The next question is, what if nothing happens? What if nothing happens, right? Here's what I've learned. The people who have quiet journeys often have the deepest integration. Not everyone needs to see God or have an ego death or any of that stuff to heal. Sometimes healing looks like finally feeling safe in your body. Sometimes it looks like a quiet knowing that you're okay. Trust in the process, trust the medicine, and trust whatever happens is exactly what you need at this time. How many of you guys have ever had a quiet realization that changed everything? Like, this is what it can be like. It's okay to be okay. How many of you guys have experienced that? Because that's where you usually land after this. So what if I take it and nothing happens? We already did, so we're going to move on. I'm interested in this. I'm interested in learning more. I'm interested in having a conversation about this. It's a big step, and it is a big deal. And so everything starts with a conversation. If you want to know more, and you want to know more about your specific circumstance or your specific trauma or your specific healing, I am here always. You get a free consultation call with me. I will talk to you about all of it and anything, and we can talk through what any of this would look like. there's no commitment, there's no pressure. It's just you and me and an honest talk. And if I'm not the right facilitator for you, maybe I know somebody who is. I know lots and lots and lots of people. And so we want to make sure you feel safe and supported. We want to make sure that you get your questions answered. And if it calls to you, then we want to make sure that you get pointed in a direction that is going to help you. Did you guys post any anonymous questions? I didn't see any this evening. And Janet and Danny, you guys are here all the time. Is there anything you want to ask me that I didn't answer in this little slide presentation? Janet, you're normally my question girl. What you got for me this evening? You're quiet today. All right, and I know Danny just moved into a new place, so he's not going to ask questions. Is there anything else you guys have ever had a question about? No? Okay. All right. Well, that is this evening's work. And if nobody's going to pipe up with questions, I guess I will go ahead and let you guys go for the evening, and I will see you next week. Thank you guys for attending and have a great evening. Bye-bye.